Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Liz Reddy. Today's top stories. A director of Falcon Real Estate says he's confident full government funding for the North Quays project in Waterford will be delivered. The new Dáil is sitting for the very first time. The manager of the Brill Family Resource Centre is looking for a pause on the development of the site of the former Ryan's pub in Ballybeg. And in sport, Waterford under-20 footballers face Clare this evening in the Munster Championship quarter-final. Construction on the multi-million euro North Quays project is expected to start early next year. The National Transport Authority yesterday announced funding of €12.6 million to Waterford Council for access works and the transport bridge to the site. The development includes a 7-storey twin block of office space, 300 apartments, a 220-room hotel and conference centre and retail space. Rob Cass, who's a director of Falcon Real Estate, who are investing €400 million in the project, says they can't start any works on the site until planning is granted and the bridge is designed.
Both designs need to align, so the bridge has to finish somewhere. We can't have a bridge landing in the middle of the year because it's vital that from a commercialisation the train station starts, because the train is connecting to the offices, 2,500 jobs in the offices. We work in parallel, and so the bridge is started and then we're working on what we call the infrastructure side. But our podium and piling will start next year. You need the weight of that, which is significant, along the whole 18 acres to be put down first in parallel to the bridge. So it's a big piece of work.
He says the timeline for start of construction will be early next year.
Because the detailed designs are really important. It'll take 6 months after we get planning. Planning is due end of March, we would hope. We'd expect the funding confirmation from government for the 100 million allocation from our 400 million end of next month.
Is your 400 million in place?
Yeah, we have funding.
Rob Cass says he's confident that full government funding for the North Quays project will be delivered, and this will kickstart further investment in the region.
It's quite humbling to see the amount of effort that's been put in by the state bodies and the background that is happening in it, and we're confident it'll get delivered. We're confident in Waterford and the South East potential, and we're just fortunate to just be at the start of a decade that unlocks its potential. It's great to see it because we believe in Waterford and we believe in its potential, and we hope that others then now follow in and say, come and invest in Waterford in the South East.
The new Dáil is sitting for the very first time. TDs will be inducted over the next hour before Ceann Comhairle is elected. Then there will be nominations for Taoiseach, with no one likely to win enough votes to be elected. Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou MacDonald hopes it will kick-start further talks.
I suspect I'm going to have 37 anyway, unless something very dramatic happens. And I tell you, there'll be questions asked then. And beyond that, we just have to wait and see how people cast their vote. But I think there's general agreement that today is not going to be the conclusive day. But I certainly hope that it can be the first step in a process that won't be too long and drawn out to arrive at government and policy and change.
2 men are being questioned at Garda stations in Dublin and Louth in relation to the murder of Cian Mulready Woods. The 17-year-old was killed and his body dismembered last month as part of the ongoing Drogheda feud. Sean O'Regan reports.
The 2 men arrested this morning can be held for up to 7 days. They're being questioned at Garda stations in Drogheda and Balbriggan under organised crime legislation. Cian Mulready Woods was last seen on January 12th, and in the days that followed, his partial remains were found across the capital. Parts were first found in a sports bag in Coolock and then in a burnt-out car near Crow Park. The 17-year-old's funeral took place this day last week, where Chief Celebrant Father Phil Gaffney addressed the country's drug culture. He said how it had now spread across Ireland and had been normalised. Today's arrests are the first in the investigation, which is being led by detectives in Drogheda.
The manager of the Brill Family Resource Centre is looking for a pause on the development on the site of the former Ryan's pub in Ballybeg. The private development of 45 apartments, which are suitable for people with disabilities, and a number of retail units, has received planning permission from Waterford Council. Glenn Lynch says 160 residents in the area have supported their submission to An Bord Pleanála. He says they'd like to see the site being developed, but in a more appropriate way.
Our ideal thing would would be that it would be low density housing going in. So they're looking to put 45 units into what we would consider a very small footprint. We'd like the size of the overall development reduced, and we'd like the density reduced as well. So we'd look at a starting point in conversation to have it down to a maximum of 3 level and the apartments themselves reduced by a third.
Fianna Fáil councillor Jason Murphy says the proposed development is likely to become social housing. He says retail will be included. However, Glenn Lynch says the developer has given them a very different perspective.
The agreement he has would be that the units will be leased to the council for 35 years. The unit going in, we had both representations from the developer and from the current shopkeeper in Ballybeg, and their assertion would be the commercial units going in at present would be the repositioning of the current local shop into the building below. Future developments on the site, they're considering medical centres, doctors and the whole lot. That's not in the current plan, and that's from the developer.
Shootings in a German city last night, which left 9 people dead, are being treated as an act of domestic terrorism. A 43-year-old German man is suspected of being responsible for opening fire at 2 shisha bars near Frankfurt. It's thought he was motivated by far-right ideology. Police were able to track a getaway car to his property, as the State Interior Minister Peter Booth explains.
When police special forces entered the house, 2 more dead people were found. One was the 72-year-old mother of the suspects and the suspect himself. Both had gunshot wounds. The murder weapon was found alongside the suspect.
Waterford Institute of Technology's intellectual disability nursing degree has been recognised internationally. An American nursing college is to integrate WIT's curriculum into its degree programme. A memorandum of understanding will be signed today between WIT and St John Fisher College, Wegman School of Nursing and the Galisano Foundation, which are both based in Rochester, New York. Rochester is twinned with Waterford City. Dr Sarah Kennedy, head of the Department of Nursing and Healthcare at WIT, explains how it came about.
In America, unlike us, there is no specific education for nurses who are looking after people with an intellectual disability. That's a little bit funny because we have a unique population with unique needs that are very, very similar to everybody else, but have unique needs because of their disability, and they're not being catered for in that specific way. St John Fisher Wegman School of Nursing approached us to look at our nursing curriculum, where we really have a very, very strong focus on this group's individual needs, and asked us could we collaborate together internationally.
After more than 50 years in business, one of the owners of Ardkeen Quality Food Store says finding ways to stay relevant in today's market is crucial. Ardkeen Quality Food Store has been nominated for its retail excellence at the Waterford Business Awards. In 2017, they celebrated 50 years of trading and won overall Waterford Business of the Year at the awards. Kevin Jeffson says the challenge is always to find new ways to offer retail excellence to customers.
We need to make sure we're selling people what they want. That's our big task every day, to try and keep ourselves relevant. And to do that, we have to continue to change. So we try and foster a culture of innovation and keep it moving. So we've embraced the online, the e-commerce part. We introduced just last year there a new healthy eating, nutritious bowls, which has been our kind of healthy eating option in response to changes in customer tastes and requirements there.
WLR Sport.
With thanks to the Waterford Viking Marathon. Register now at waterfordvikingmarathon.com.
Former Waterford senior hurler Shiner Ahern says he doesn't expect many changes to the side Liam Cahill named for the postponed game against Limerick for Sunday's clash with Galway. Waterford are back on home soil after their trip to Limerick was called off last weekend. He says the Limerick match being called off could be a blessing in disguise.
Last Sunday was a little bit soon for us to be playing Limerick. We had a great win against Cork and then, an easy enough win against Westmeath. But I think Limerick was maybe just a little bit too soon. Whereas now for it to go to the back of the league, I think it's working out better for us. But also for Galway, as it happens, I think they were coming up against a Tipperary team, Smartin, after losing 2 games in a row. So it would have been a tough one for Galway. So I think it'll suit them to play at the end of the league as well. So all round, maybe it's suiting both teams that way.
Throw-in Walsh Park is at 2 p.m. Shiner will be joining Kieran O'Connor on commentary duty here on WLR thanks to George Corbett Skoda. The rescheduled Waterford Under-20 Football Munster Championship quarter-final game against Clare goes ahead this evening at 7 p.m. in Milltown Malbay. The game was postponed due to weather conditions yesterday. Waterford FC's new captain Brian Murphy says he's delighted to take on the role. He says he's looking forward to getting home and playing for a few years and basing himself in Waterford. The club launched the new Waterford FC 24/7 cardiac care jersey last night.
Alan said it to me when he was trying to get me to come back. I was kind of over and back whether I would come home or whether I would stick it out over in the UK. But I've had a good run. I've been back over 11 years. I've been away 20 years, so I'm not getting any younger. So I think it's nice to maybe get home while I'm still able to play for a few years, set up base again here. I've not lived here my adult life, so I'm kind of looking forward to that side of it as well, and not having to move every couple of years when your contract's up and stuff. So
Waterford FC play their first home game of the season tomorrow night. The Blues opened the campaign with victory away to St Pat's. They welcome a Bohemian side who suffered defeat at home to Shamrock Rovers. Darragh Power made his Waterford FC debut last Friday.
Yeah, definitely. Delighted that Rennie gave me the chance. Delighted to come into such a good team as well. Great performance. We did well to get the win in the end and a good start to the season.
Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola has reaffirmed his commitment to the club even if their 2-year ban from European competitions is upheld. They were victorious in their first game since the UEFA punishment as they eased to a 2-0 Premier League win against West Ham last night. Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer admits winning the Europa League gives them a bonus chance to qualify for next season's Champions League. They travel to Belgium club Bruges in the first leg of their last 32 tie this evening. And sports news on WLR thanks to Waterford Viking Marathon.